Hey there, Everyday Conman here, and I just watched The Garden of Words. The Garden of Words, also known as Kotonoha no Niwa, is a Japanese animated film produced by Comics Wave Films and directed by Makoto Shinkai in 2013. The short movie is about an aspiring shoemaker, Takao Akizuki, and a girl he meets in the rain. I'm not gonna lie, there's not much more I'd like to give away about this film because I really enjoyed it. There's a lot I could compliment this movie on and very few things I could complain about. The first thing that anyone would notice is that this movie is extremely photorealistic and it's just beautiful. The scenery in this movie does not only a wonderful job of pulling you in, but also does a fantastic job setting an atmosphere. I spent majority of this movie just wanting to be in Japan during the rainy season. I, dare I say, would recommend this movie just for the art and atmosphere alone. It is simply gorgeous. Something else I could mention is that the animation is really amazing and only helps set the atmosphere. The way the rain and water and almost anything in this movie is animated is just astounding. There's also something here to mention about the length of this film, but I'll talk about that in a bit. The final pro I'd like to mention right now is that the music and sounds are just beautiful. The Japanese voice acting is amazing and the English dub isn't all that terrible either. But I'd highly recommend watching in Japanese if you'd like to get completely immersed in this film. Again though, I've really got to direct this pro back to the music, because the songs were surprisingly inspiring and only added to giving this movie atmosphere. As for cons, this guy is 15 years old and a freshman in high school. Yeah, that's about as believable as me saying I'm a freshman in high school. This guy is clearly not a freshman in high school. There is no conceivable way that you can make me believe that he is only 15 years old. This dude is an adult pretending to be in high school, and I cannot be convinced otherwise. Along the topic of looks, while this movie and scenery looks beautiful, it's a little off-putting to see anime characters like this in such a photorealistic setting. It's almost like a Who Framed Roger Rabbit feeling, and it really takes a while to get used to. Another thing about this movie is that it's actually very short, clocking in at 45 minutes. Now, I feel like this con is fairly excusable though because of the said animation. With animation this wonderful, I do understand why the movie is as short as it is. I feel like the only reason for mentioning this movie's length is simply because I enjoyed a lot of it and a lot of the atmosphere, so much that I wanted more. Finishing this up on a positive note, I want to talk about something interesting that came up. While watching this movie, there's an interesting generation gap, and this actually plays a major role in the final conflict. Something I love about the final conflict is that, because of this experience and age gap, I was able to understand both sides of the conflict. It does have a fairly youth versus age feel to it, but this oddly works in favor of the sudden conflict, and a lot of things that would usually seem out of nowhere are easily understood. Granted, we don't really get a good look into Takao's character, so most of his reasoning is stereotypical babble, teenage angst, and mixed feelings. But that's surprisingly his character. In fact, it's the only thing that really portrays him as an emotional kid, and it was nice to see that side come out. The climax of this movie was surprisingly well done, emotional, and I'm not gonna lie, I did question how it ended. With the relationship these two characters built, I was curious how they could possibly ended it, and I was honestly pleasantly surprised. In the end, I would say that this is definitely a movie to check out and watch once or twice because of the art, movie, and atmosphere. The story really isn't the best, but it's cute, fun, and has one hell of a feel-good climax. I would highly recommend checking it out, but make sure you get it on Blu-ray or something, because you'll want to see this in as high definition as possible. With all that said, thank you for watching. I'm Everyday Conman. See ya!